risk of actually freezing to death out here right now. So I'm sure you may or may not have heard of. Actually, I'm pretty sure you have heard that there's this whole winter weather thing in the north, uh, in the Midwest right now. I would open my tent and show you what I woke up to, but I already peed on it. And you guys are going to give me shit because I had like 40 or 50 ounces of Mountain Dew yesterday, so my pee is yellow and it's gross. And who pees that close to where they live? Somebody with a serious pelvic injury. That's somebody who does. It's gross, I know. I don't love it either. I was really hoping that by April I'd be done with this, and that's not going to be the case. So we soldier on, baby. But I am losing feeling in my hands, so I either need to bundle back up or I need to get up to Panera. Um, my feet are fine, but I cannot feel my left hand. So I either need to figure that out or I need to get to Panera. And here's the thing, I don't have any money. I'm out of money. Um, my monthlies are coming due from when I thought that I was going to have a consistent income. So I'm going to have to cut back on my monthlies, which means I'm going to have to turn off Gemini Pro, which means that I'm not going to get good thumbnails anymore, and the conversations that keep me sane and keep me moving are going to be less stimulating. Um, Give me a second here. So I either have to generate some tips here before we get to Panera, which says it's open online. I just googled it to see if it's open. It says it's open on Google. I don't imagine it wouldn't. I hear a bunch of trucks and shit moving around. I cannot imagine that Ohio was unprepared for this. If everywhere I look, I've been warned about it, and I have been deliberately trying to keep myself ignorant of the weather. But there's about somewhere between 9 and 12 inches of snow piled up on the ground, just between me and getting up to the top of the hill. So getting up to the top of the hill is going to be its own kind of thing. I'm telling you how it's going. Getting up to the top of the hill is going to be its own thing. There's a ton of snow there. My shoes are frozen, so getting my feet in them is going to be its own sort of hell. So right now, I am content. Actually, I'm more content than I thought I was. Give me a second. I am content to just stay in the tent today. I don't have the food. I don't have the calories necessary, but I also don't have the money necessary to go to Panera and get calories. And I have, I'm just being honest with you. It's part of the Philalitheia approach. I'm not asking you for anything, and you don't have to interfere, or you don't have to intervene if you don't want to. But I don't have any reason to believe that I am going to make those tips, that money in order to buy calories when I get up there. So I'm just gonna put it off for as long as I can, and then, like I have been, go to Pizza Cottage, and I'll just take out a little bit of debt that I can manage. I have I think 700, maybe I think it's 700 available to me. So I can go as much as 300 in debt, and then I am still drawing something like $70, 50, maybe $70, something like that from my Patreon. So the world is not ending. I just lost a supporter, and that's thrown my finances into disarray, I guess you could say. I am not looking forward to putting on frozen shoes, but I structured my tarps in such a way that only the front wall of my tent would be taking weight under the snow, and the tension as you can see, is fine. So, all is well. My head does not seem to be down, Sheldon. Hello, Keelan. Kellen. I can't tell whether that's an I or an L. This difference, I think it's 2 L's. I might call you Sean. No, I'm going to call you Kellen. Okay. Yeah. I was sitting here thinking mostly about how I'm going to keep my feet from freezing if I do leave. It's only a few minutes, right? 12 minutes less if I jog. Jogging is inadvisable in my state. Where's my hand warmer? Did you make it through the night? Fuck yeah, you made it through the night. You fucking bitch. I'm so impressed. You only use 25% of your battery over that 8-hour period, which is how that was supposed to go. The inside of my sleeping bag is very warm. Okay, I need one of my cables. Why don't I see it? Hey, Cristobal. I don't know that I want. I don't know how to answer that question, buddy. If you would like to donate, my links are available in my description. If you feel compelled, I will spend it on food almost immediately. I'll probably turn around from what I'm doing right now and immediately put on my shoes and go get food, because I said that I was doing this to earn the ability to eat today. Jesus says that speaking the gospel, telling the good news, is work, and that the worker deserves his pay, and that the workman deserves to eat because they got paid in food. Back then, Paul said the same, that teaching to the masses, spreading the word to the Gentile and the ignorant was work, and that it deserved to be paid in food. And I'm not asking for anything. I'm not making that argument. I reach to, or I use old arguments, because it used to be that establishing precedent for your way of life got people off your back about it. Oh, okay, well, other people have done this too. Okay. If you can establish that this is an old thing and not a new thing, then we'll stop busting your balls about it. Not, in fact, because I like either Jesus or Paul to a greater degree than any of the other people that I might reference, because I don't actually like Paul. I don't like Paul at all. But Paul made the argument, and Paul made a living off making the argument. I'd rather talk about something else. I'd rather get my mind off of this. I'm in Ohio, freezy. There's approaching 12 inches of snow outside my tent. It's 9. If it's girl inches, we got 30 inches of snow out there, dudes. I'm a little freaked out by it. But there's not so much tension on my tent. It's not so heavy. Yeah, it's not so heavy that my tent's gonna collapse around me. Oh yeah. Where I should be worried is where it's, yeah. You know, I understand how to do things. Yeah, I set my tarps up to displace the weight on this side where I can't see the accumulation and I'm less likely to get around. And I have made an igloo, Vil. If you were listening, that's what I'm saying. I have my tarps set up in such a way that the weight is displaced off of the spine of my tent. So I'm in very little risk of the downward force collapsing it, and the snow itself, the ice and snow themselves are acting as an insulator as I breathe and as I move around in here. it's activating the air so that my hands are, for example, no longer numb. I keep sitting down into the chat. I'm trying to get comfortable. It's cold, and I would like to not have my body too high, too elevated, because I effectively have made an igloo. I knew what I was doing. I didn't want to freeze to death. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a fucking terrible way to go. Not only because it's fucking miserable, but because the people who find your body to dispose of it find you naked. Because there comes a point. Thank you, Freezy. There comes a point. There comes a point where your body is just takes the Viking reality of it and goes naked into that long dark night. It's not funny, but it is kind of funny. It's kind of funny because it didn't happen to me, and I didn't want it to happen to me, and that's why I didn't want it to happen to me, is because I've thought about it like that. I'm gonna have to just fucking tuck my legs up under me and sit like an adult upright, because it's just not gonna work like this for very long. Thank you, Freezy. I appreciate all the high fives. I appreciate it. I do. It's good to see you guys. It's good to be seen by you guys. It's good to make your acquaintance. Yes, I am, by your standards, a homeless man. From mine, I am an ascetic monastic. I'm here to get right with God, to be able to experience God in a way that I just could not do when I had a job and people that I was responsible for. And I thought that I was ready for that experience to be over and to move into the next stage of my life, where I could be a contentment creator for you full time, and that fell through. This is freaking me out. Yeah, it's fine. It is actually fine, because if it weren't, I would have just ripped my tent, all the shit. I just didn't get, I haven't seen the ice scrapers. Whoever is doing, by the way, if you're watching this and you do Dollar Tree's fucking ordering, you're an idiot. Why do you only have spring clothes? Why haven't you sent oh, you know what? We should probably send a delivery of winter clothes just the fucking case. You see it, Eli. How are you, pal? Just the fucking case. What do I know? They don't have any gloves in there. So if I had lost these, I'm fucked right now. And they didn't have any hot hands last night. How? That's why I bought 2 the other night. I think I have a pair of hot hands remaining in my bag. But I'm not gonna tear it open, because if they don't have any tonight when I go in there, idiots. I'm either gonna have to go down to Walmart, which will actually have them for cheaper. It's just inconvenient. It's 2 hours of my life I don't really want to spend. Hour and a half, maybe just an hour. Still, I don't want to do it because I'm lazy, and I don't really want to spend the money at Walmart. The Broncos are fucking in the AFC Championship. Is that not good enough for you, Walton? You need my money too? Anyway. Pretty sure I've got them. And if I've got them, I got the socks, so I can just stick them in my socks tonight, and all will be well. Because it's actually several degrees warmer in here than it is out there. It was last night. I'm unpacking my bag, and I can feel the hot air wafting out of my tent, and I'm like, no, please wait, I'm moving as fast as I can. I can feel the temperature difference on my nose, on my face. And so I've been spending a lot of time. I've been spending a lot of time researching. I've been doing it through Gemini, because I would have been doing it through Google anyway, and it's just more efficient to do it with something that can think about the thing you're trying to search query. But I've been doing a lot of thinking about atomic radiation in the human species, and like for how long Homo sapiens have been interacting with and integrating with um, piezoelectric and um, otherwise radioactive materials. And the answer is an absurdly long time, since before we were Homo sapien. An absurdly long time. Neanderthal painted their caves in radioactive materials. The very first pitches that we used, the one is called pitch blende. It's black. It's a coal. It looks just like coal, but it's actually irradiated. It has it's a stage of uranium, um, or a form of uranium. I'm not really entirely sure. I'm not a rocks guy, so it's taken me a long time to learn. And then the other one is yellow, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's another form of an irradiated material, either uranium or radium. I'm not sure, um, but I've always had no, I don't know about always, but I've had this sneaking suspicion for a couple of decades now that the the alternate historian crowd, even though they're stupid and they're wrong. Hello, Monica. I don't know what that means. Even though they're wrong about most things, that their instinct that the academe, especially as far as Egyptology is going, is full of shit and doesn't want anybody to know that it's full of shit about certain things. Certain things. That was scary. That truck threw a bunch of snow on me. I said hello, Monica. Um, I've had this sneaking suspicion that they're not wrong, that Egyptology is full of shit about something. And so I've had this idea, I've had this question like, okay, well, what if they're wrong about the material science? What if they're wrong about the material science of how the pyramids were built? I think what's happening is the wind is blowing snow off the trees onto the tent. Um, what if they're wrong about the material science? And then they don't seem to be wrong about the material science. Then it's like, okay, well, what if they were wrong about the technical science? What if they're wrong about the technique? Because the difference in technique and technology is one of semantics. It's one of just how you look at it. And so I was just Googling around, basically just searching around, asking questions, because one of the ways that if you don't have the answer, if you don't have the artifact, one of the things you can do if you have an idea is you can sit about and you can try to falsify it. Okay, well, what if I just go through the skill sets that we have for debunking magic or whatever, just the debunking skills that we know from uh, Mythbusters? What if we just go through the process of trying to prove it wrong first? Because it's impossible to prove a negative, but it is possible to arrive at whether something is factual or not, if it's even possible or not. For example, if I'm trying to hypothesize that they were playing around with nuclear materials and there were just none available, none found, then they weren't playing around with nuclear materials. If I'm trying to say that they were playing around with piezoelectric materials, that is, electromagnetic materials that react to vibrations, and there just aren't any, and they didn't have artifacts in them, and they didn't work in it, and they're just not around, then that kills the theory. It just kills it. They didn't have it. But here's the thing, they had both. Limestone is a piezoelectric mineral. And so if you I did this. This is another way that I did it. I'm like, okay, so if you're Homo erectus 2 million years ago, and you're just carrying around this piece of limestone because you like it, and you walk into a cave, and that cave is filled with radon gas, what's going to happen? Hello, Baron. I'm also in Ohio. What's going to happen to this piezoelectric stone? And what that means is that it has little cavities in it, and they resonate. And those resonances, when they vibrate, when they resonate, like with sound waves, they generate an electric charge. And so they vibrate and they hum, and you can feel the electricity in it, because it's not like static electricity. It's like licking a battery. It's about that much electricity. And so you could feel it, and and you sing into it and hum into it, or you bang it on something that resonates with it in the right way. You'd feel it. You'd know what you were holding, that it wasn't just an inactive rock. This is an electrically active rock. And so if you walk that into a cave that had radon gas in it, it would go ape shit. It would start to glow. I'm in Ohio, Mariah. Hello, Aaliyah. It would start to glow. And then I started thinking about that, and I'm like, okay. Well, if we know that limestone behaves under these conditions, it vibrates and stuff, well, what did Egypt make out of limestone? Their temples. Their temples were giant resonance chambers that, if you flooded them with radon gas, would literally glow. It would literally glow. That's a technology from our standpoint. Making rocks glow, that's magic. If I could demonstrate this for you, if I had a big enough and specifically carved enough quartz hammer, is what they're called, a quartz hand hammer or working hammer, and I bashed it against some iron pyrite, fool's gold, which is how they made fire. We arrived at fire by bashing iron pyrite against stuff. We would bash it against flint, and it would create sparks. That's one of the ways that you can arrive at this. Well, if you do that same fucking thing with quartz that you've been bashing on flint for a while, so it's electrically charged and glowing, and you can feel it in your hand, and then you did that to iron pyrite, it wouldn't just send out sparks. It would send out jets of glowing fire. And science wants me to believe that a bunch of fucking monkeys were sitting around with pre-built fireplaces just waiting on them to catch fire, and then one of them got struck by lightning. No, we didn't, Chris. That's what I'm saying. That's fucking insane. No, we didn't sit around with a bunch of fucking sticks in piles and wait for them to get struck by lightning. The 0.00000 to infinity percent chance that happened means it didn't happen. But what did happen is a bunch of Homo erectus who were already bashing shit with rocks. We discovered fire at the same time that we speciated it to Heidelbergensis. And so what happens is that a bunch of Homo erectus already had all of these material rocks together. And what they did is they went push, push, push in front of a bunch of dried leaves and twigs and shit, and it caught fire, and they went, that's pretty fucking cool. Let's cook rocks. Because we actually cooked rocks before we cooked animals. The cooking animals thing was incidental. We had been cooking rocks, making rocks forever. In fact, if you take pitchblende and you hit it with quartz until it gets so hot you can't hold it, and you stick it down into a bunch of sticks like you're waiting on to get struck by lightning, they erupt in flame. You don't even need the of iron pyrite if you've got pitchblende. And pitchblende looks just like coal. So archaeologists throw it away. You don't need lightning. You can make lightning if you have enough quartz carved in a specific way And they were already doing that before they were Heidelbergensis. And we were Heidelbergensis before we were Homo sapiens, Neanderthal, Denisovans. And Homo sapiens weren't specialized in fire. Homo sapiens aren't the ones who specialized in fire. Neanderthals specialized in fire to cook rocks. The jump in calories from cooking, that happens way later than we're actually taught it did. No, we weren't using fire before we were making fire. That doesn't make sense. And I'm telling you that the evidence of the coal carrier isn't coal. It's pitch blende. A long time before that. We were using, no, you're wrong. I'm telling you you're wrong. That you're buying into a narrative that's just wrong. I already established that the narrative is just wrong before you arose. So if you're going to stand here and argue with me while I'm surrounded by 12 inches of snow, I am going to mute you because this isn't a conversation. Okay, goodbye, Chris. This isn't a conversation. This isn't a one-way stream or a two-way stream where you get to argue with me. This is where I get to speak and you get to fuck yourself. And I'm telling you that you're wrong. And then I'm not going back to the beginning to start over because you showed up in the middle and didn't want to hear the speaker speaking. Go fuck yourself. And remain fucked. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't know how to react to you right now, Rachel. Yes, it says don't be an asshole because I'm asshole enough for all of us. Hello, Jar. I do not know who the fuck you people think you are. Crashing out, Chinyad. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, Sheldon, I'm staying warm. Gotta be fucking kidding me. I don't know why I even bother. I just genuinely don't know why I even bother. Goodbye, Sheldon. Goodbye. I just don't know why I even bother. Oh, dumb. No, I'm not alright, Shrimp. I have no reason to believe that you actually think I'm amazing, Shrimply. No, I'm not okay. I have no reason to believe you, but thank you for saying it, I guess. My amazing what? I wouldn't even give you shit about not using the apostrophe if you knew there were an E there. I have no reason to believe that you were fixated by me. And to be amazed means to be trapped in Daedalus's maze, at the end of which is a minotaur which will kill you and eat your girlfriend. I have no reason to believe that you actually think that about me. I also don't know what the hell happened to my smokes. Where the hell have I gone? Didn't I? Why are you surprised? With I am replies? I don't know what that means, Lee. I'm answering your question honestly. He said, "How am I doing?" And then he called me amazing. I said, "I'm doing poorly. I'm not well, and I have no reason to believe that he actually believes that I'm amazing." I don't know. I don't know what the problem is there. Would you like me to lie? I'm in a tent in snow that doesn't have any intention of letting up, or any doesn't show any signs of letting up anytime soon. Hungry. I was trying to share something deeply personal, and one of the people who claims to be one of my supporters interrupted me. I said, "That just is done. Not doing that anymore." What do you want from me? And more importantly, what are you willing to give me to get it? I wouldn't have been surprised if Panera were closed today. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody just showed up to work. But it would be unacceptable. If I knew this was coming, everybody in Ohio knew this was coming. All right. If I knew this was coming, first shift knew it was coming. There's no excuse. But I wouldn't be surprised either if they closed early. I wouldn't be surprised if I come out of here and the roads are perfect. They should be. Shouldn't be that bad. We got road scrapers and salt, and we got tech. We can do it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it's not even a big deal. But it would disappoint me if I didn't get to watch the games today. I hope they're safe. I hope those teams, players and equipment managers don't try to pull macho bullshit and put their lives at risk. And I hope the fans aren't stupid. Hello, Mayrov. There were a bunch of fans at the Dolphins-Chiefs game, a bunch of Miami fans that got pretty serious frostbite at that insane game because they weren't smart and they weren't safe first. Seahawks, Rams, yeah, and the other one, Broncos, New England, is supposed to snow in both games if I'm not wrong. The one is supposed to have catastrophic snow, according to the Weather Channel. I don't know what that means, Kyle. I don't tend to get along with Kyles, just so you know. Not for long. I don't know why people do that. You know, the dignity move would have just been, I didn't renew. And I'd be like, fine. It didn't even occur to me to think about it. I forget that in order to understand a shithead, in order to stand a shithead, you have to be like a shithead. You have to think like a shithead. And I don't think like a shithead. So when people do shithead things, it always surprises and crashes me out because I never see it coming. I never see it. I'm never prepared for it because I don't think like a shithead. Well, that gets to be my whole day. Today's Sunday. They're closing early anyway. So I gotta get up in an hour anyway if I want to try to get in an 8 hour. Well, I'm not gonna get in an 8 hour day if I don't leave right now. I want to play Wizardry in Final Fantasy VIII, and I want to continue downloading. I have a couple of other games I have the hard drive space for now that I'm not using the SD drives in the same way that I was. Hard drive space to play the games, it turns out, is more valuable to me than hard drive space to record me playing the games. I'll play it live, and the audio can just suck an ass for the experience of sharing the game. I feel good about that choice. Yeah, when I commit to leaving the tent, there's a hard timer on how long my feet are going to remain. Not numb. I don't know how to say it. I don't know what that. Sensible, I guess. There will be a clicking clock, and my shoes are going to be frozen. I hope I got them open enough I can just fit my feet in them, because otherwise it's going to be a fucking nightmare with all that snow. And I'm trying not to take the secondary path, because the deer take the secondary path, because the path I take has become so slick. They keep sliding and falling. I don't know about falling, but definitely you can see their foot slide through it and come up off the ground. But they got 4 legs, so probably not actually letting their shoulders hit the ground. Hey Striker, what's up? No, I need to get a walking stick, Marav, but I don't carry a walking stick because I'm tall. I'm tall, and I don't back down when people disrespect me. So if I had a walking stick, people would perceive it as a weapon. Actually, I wonder. I took a picture of it. Yeah, here. This is what my tent looks like if I open the door. This right here, it's actually going to cover you can kind of see the frame of the door. Yeah, that's what's outside my door right now. Saw a chick the other day with this haircut. She was doing her scalp, and I was like, who wore it better, Thomas Aquinas or that chick? I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, here we go. This is the spookiest scene from one of my favorite games. Oh no, not spookiest. This guy. Oh, ooh, I can draw on it. No, move it. Move it over. Scoot it over. Who wants to see a dick pic? Put a dick pic up on the screen. Oh. Here, we can just... This can be my green screen forever. Just this is my background. I feel good about that. There, that way. I'm not going to show you the real thing because I peed on it. Hey, Rita. I already addressed that. I feel good about that. Yeah. I already said that. Wasn't gonna, no. If I'm not willing to put my shoes on in 12 inches of snow to go and get food, I'm not going to put my shoes on to go pee. No. Because it's warmer right here than it is on the other side of my tent. I can feel my hands again. So this is obviously working. I'm not on multiple drugs, no. I'm hooked on phonics, homie. It's gonna be before you want Huh? My plan to get through the storm is to do what I'm doing right now. I'll probably get up and go to Panera at some point. I don't know if they're going to be open, for how long they're going to be open, but I got a bad trip. I do not need to start a fire. First of all, I don't have any fuel. Second of all, I don't have any starter. And third, it'll set my shit on fire. What I don't need is my tent to be on fire. Not near me, no. I don't know what part of I'm comfortable you guys aren't hearing. There are no tree branches. They're all under 12 inches of snow, bud. You've been talking an awful lot for just having tuned in, Black. I don't remember asking for help. Well, I only ever have one bag of chips at a time, and I'm not freezing. I keep saying, I am comfortable. Would you walk up to a guy who's just chilling on a bench in the shade, enjoying the shade, and tell him that he needs to go stand in the sun? You need to go inside, sir. You are enjoying your day. I don't know why I would need more than one bag of chips. And I keep saying that the moment I put my shoes on, the moment I decide to put my shoes on, I'm putting my feet at risk. Because my shoes are frozen. Not 12 inches of snow and below freezing here either. Can't even see my breath as I'm talking. I have 2 sleeping bags, Rafsties. Maybe. I'm still gonna sleep here. Sure, but again, the second that I open that door to put my shoes on, I'm stepping across like a 20 or 30 degree barrier into much colder weather. So for 15 minutes, while I get my shoes on and ready to leave, and then 15 to 20 minutes while I walk to Panera, and then again on the way home, I'm at significantly greater risk than I am just staying here. I'm in Ohio. And if I have that other pack of hot hands, as I already addressed at the beginning, I'm safer here. I don't think I have 2 packs of hot hands, so I don't think I have 2 packs of hot hands. That's a bummer. Tonight's gonna be cold. But again, warmer if I don't leave the tent. Also got a half a block of cheese. Not even, I got about a half a block of cheese. You don't need to see how it's comfortable. You need to see that it is comfortable. Do I seem uncomfortable? Am I fidgety? Am I like pulling blankets over myself? Can't see my breath. You don't need to be comfortable. No. There's not going to be snow in the parking lot. The issue is climbing up this hill is going to be a nightmare. I got a half a block of cheese and a bag of chips, and I got a box of Crunch-A-Munch, and I got a sleeve of pepperoni. I got about 1,200 calories. I got enough food to get bored of eating. Thank you. Tell me about it, Cap. Raph. Whether that's what I need, I don't know about need. Okay, Matthew. Probably not right now. That'll wait for later. It's kind of gross. Hello, dumb. God is with me. You stay safe too, Matthew. You're probably at greater risk than I am. God is absolutely with me. Matthew is a homie, Ruff. Agreed. Okay. So here's how I'm going to do this. Oh yeah. My foot sweat. There's a block of ice at the bottom of these shoes. And look, that's a choice I made. That's why I'm laughing. Oh God, that's horrific. All right. Let's stick my hand warmer in there. Oh, that's fucking funny. Oh, that's funny. My foot sweat is a block of ice in the sole of the shoe. I didn't have... Okay, so last year, I turned 180 degrees. Who told me lies, Rita? Earlier, I did say that. I didn't say lies. I said I might. And it was the way he said to do the thing. I have pathological demand avoidance, Rita, so I didn't tell lies. I said I might do that. And I set immediately to the process. I put my hand warmer in my shoe. I've been sitting here telling you the whole time that the cognitive work I'm actually doing is on telling myself to stick my feet into frozen shoes. They're blocks of ice because they're sitting outside my tent. They were actually buried all the way up to the opening in the snow. I pulled them out of the snow. They are cold. Because last year, how I dealt with this was I turned in my tent 180 degrees from how I am. And I slept with my head at the foot, and I put all my trash and my wet stuff right at the opening. If I did that now, it would be uncomfortable and it would collapse my tent again, because the tent's not designed to have an adult human sitting at the foot. It's designed to have a human sitting here, because the weight is displaced for that. But if I put my shoes down there now, because that's where I keep my clothes, first of all, I would be tracking all the wet and mud down there to where I keep my clothes. And because of how narrow that is, I would lose several inches of tint doing that. And I'm already losing several inches of tint to my backpack up here at the top. So it would shrink my tent from just enough to fit my body if I lay flat to not enough to fit my body if I lay flat. And the muscles of my pelvis and knee, which are already ruined, would never stop hurting. I would just never stop hurting. And so I made the sacrifice. If the shoes go out there, and that just means putting my... Man, if I had a fucking quarter to sell, I would be smoking it right now. You gotta be out of your fucking mind, Cinderella. Anyway, I'm gonna let them warm up with the hand warmers. If I fucking had it to sell, I would be smoking it right now. I would not be smoking this bullshit. I'm like, if I had it to sell, if I had enough of it to sell and I could sell drugs, do you think I'd be talking to your stupid asses? Like, really? No, Raph. I wish. Definitely not. Definitely not, Matthew. I don't have the product. If I had the product to sell, I wouldn't be trying to make money other ways. Do you just don't understand basic economics, do you? You don't really understand much about anything, do you, Cinderella? Why do you gotta be stupid? Why do you say such stupid things? Why do you only show evidence of a lack of human intelligence? Why can I not tell the difference in you and a stupid person? Do I lack discernment? It's actually not easy. I don't know anyone in this town. I don't have the startup costs. I don't have the product. It's not easy. Play Schedule 1. It takes a lot of startup costs and effort. Y'all are dumb. This is why you're on that side of the camera. If it were that easy to be moderately wealthy, you would do it. No. I'm not putting myself at the mercy of a person I don't know, don't trust, and frankly don't like. There's nothing for Tennessee. Nothing for me in Tennessee. I don't like the Colts. I don't like Pat McAfee that much. Country music was a phase in my life that I had no choice in. No thanks. I married a girl from Tennessee, got married in Tennessee. That's as much as I need from Tennessee. Why would I move from soy fields to cornfields? No thanks. I don't know who David Duke is. No, the Colts aren't from Tennessee, are they? Titans. That's what I meant to say. Hey, I was in the AFC South. Nashville, I already addressed country music. I was a Titans fan when Tannehill was there. I was a Titans fan when Vrabel was there. The Titans are a trash organization that's never going to get good. Eventually. I've seen what support looks like. I don't know that I actually want support anymore. Support looks like asking me to give you a voice on my channel that's neither scripted nor auditioned for, not speaking to me for a month, and then showing up and derailing my live show. I don't want any of your support. Well, their general manager being an all-around pervert probably cooked them, Cinderella. Probably the culture was poisoned from the top down the moment that guy was hired. You don't remember this? Mike Vrabel's general manager going AWOL in South America, and it turning out that he was a sex pest and had been the whole time. Well, you're never going to get to learn, Black, because their record on my channel has been erased. You're just going to have to watch the whole show. That happened, Cinderella. And yeah, the culture was totally poisoned. That's why the next season, Vrabel is talking to New England fans about how New England just doesn't understand how good they have it. Sure, the owner is a sex pest, but his culture isn't totally toxic. I don't have any DUIs, no. I've never driven under the influence. All right, give this 2 more minutes. Robert Pest is a sex pest. Or Robert Kraft is a sex pest and a pervert. It's absolutely true that Robert Kraft is a sex pest. He got arrested getting a fucking hand job from an illegal immigrant. He's a sex pest and a pervert. He's probably on the what is it, the Weinstein list? Robert Kraft is a sex pest and a pervert. Still makes him a sex pest. He still pestered her for sex. And it's still a perversion to get a hand job from somebody who's not even legally allowed to be in your country. If I'm on the Weinstein list, it's because they wanted me, baby. So sexy. They were prospecting me. Yeah. Again, Cinderella, if I wouldn't have been talking to you. Doesn't matter long. He's still a fucking sex pest. He still pestered her for sex. And he's still a pervert. It was still someone other than his wife. He's a sex pest and a pervert. He absolutely pestered her. Absolutely. He pestered an illegal immigrant working in sex slavery for sex. And then he didn't pay her. He couldn't pay her. He got arrested for the act. Idiots. He ripped her off, and then he didn't even have the temerity to give his restitution for society for doing something that is both illegal and perverted. No, he didn't. He couldn't have. He got arrested while her hand was around his dick. You fucking idiots. That's the definition of pestering. You're just idiots who want to have power so you can use it to do perverted things to women in your power. Get fucked and stay that way. Matthew, you're trying real fucking hard to get muted too. I am talking about all American white males in power and many of the black ones because they're copying the people that got them in power. I am talking about Robert Kraft. But you can just say white male and mean it if they're in a position of power. They use the position of power to do perverted shit because it's the only way they can fulfill their perverted fantasies. You have to have infinite wealth to buy infinite silence. Everyone has a cost. Everyone will unethically consent to being harmed so long as the money is right. And that's why I say constantly, what do you want from me? And what are you willing to give me to get it? Because everyone has a price. And everyone wants something. What you aren't willing to do is sacrifice what you've already got to get what you want. Because what you already know that what you want is a perversion of what you need. You already know. That's why you won't go to the lengths to get money and power. This is why you watch people like me, so you can think that you're doing better than what you're doing. Because the only good you're really doing is not chasing some perversion. I don't believe you, devil. You can say you don't want anything, but you're not on the internet because you don't want to be not bored. Oh, I know better than to think I'm Confucius. I've read the Analects, and Confucius is wrong. I read the Analects at 18 years old. I came home from my steak and shake job, and I read the Analects. Because I'm better than you, too. Like, it's not a question to me. It's not a, why do you think you're better than me? It's like, well, I don't have to think about it very much. I'm just better than you. I practice at a higher level. What way does it matter? Many ways. The way that you think is most important. Doing good things for good reasons. I don't have to think about it. The evidence speaks for itself, devil. I don't put things like devil in my name. I don't believe I'm better. I know it. The evidence speaks for itself. I would never step on a child and pretend like they had wronged me, for example. Maybe, Buck, but I don't believe you. Yeah, it's just your gamer name. It's just the name that you use so you can get away with horrible acts of violence, evil, against other human beings without identifying by it when you're not doing it. You know, like a serial killer does. I don't even believe in you. O0O Devil O0O81. I don't even recognize the wave of your potential. I was crazy before, and I don't live on the street. I was crazy a long time before homelessness, as you would understand it. Gotham has no interest in me. I'm unconcerned with your approval. Arkham Asylum would have no interest in me because I'm not criminally insane. You're just really dumb, Cherry. And you're your narrative vocabulary is so narrative, you try to shoehorn Arkham Asylum into everything because it's the only thing you know anything about. Well, I mean, technically I've made $21 today, Cherry. I'm already in the process of leaving my tent to go get something to eat with that money, and I'm trying to decide whether or not to refund Rachel's money. It's kind of fucked up to not talk to somebody for 3 days and then just drop a bunch of money in their lap without saying anything. And I'm trying to decide whether I should starve on principle or not. Because I'm willing to. That's kind of how I feel, Cherry. I scammed her, so she shouldn't still be sending me money. I agree. That's what she said. But thinking about it to this degree is thinking about it at this level, or at all, is a degree of empathy that I don't receive from you guys. So I should absolutely take your money and run and tell you to go fuck yourselves. Like, what I should start doing is, as soon as you subscribe to the Patreon the first time, just immediately blocking you. Ha ha! You've been scammed, idiot. And now I watch the wheels spin as you're trying to figure out if I'm being ironic, sarcastic, serious. Do I test this? Do I care to test this? Why should no one live like this, Matthew? Are you a Christian, Matthew? How much do you know about Christian monasticism, Matthew? How much do you know about the actual expansion of Christianity into Europe, Matthew? But specifically, how much do you actually know about Christian monasticism, Matthew? Because if it's nothing, you're not a Christian. You're just a guy who thinks some really silly things in the 21st century. My religion is Philalitheia, Jerry. Sure. I've already told you it's a scam, Jerry. I don't know why you keep asking me if it's a scam. Keep saying yes. It's all a ruse to get you to send me the infinite dollars that you see scaling up on the screen right now. It's all a ruse. Anyway, Matthew. Every town and city in Europe that you know the name of was founded by a Christian monastic. Somebody who went and lived in the woods in a tent because he just couldn't fucking take the people who called themselves Christians in cities. So maybe more of us should live the way I do. Because all those books that arrived at the theology that you want to spit at me like you think you know anything were written by people like me. Job lived like me. Abraham lived like me. Jesus lived like me. No, you're not good, Black, and I'm done with you. The nice is a spit in my face. Imagine being nice to Jesus. Imagine how he would have taken that. Just imagine how his day would turn. Lucas was jumping around on my face yesterday trying to get me to wake up and give him food. I didn't see him. He didn't come out last night because mice aren't dumb. They know what's coming. I had a raccoon visit me yesterday morning as well. They knew what was coming. He's fine. As far as I know, Lucas is fine. He was jumping around on my face, trying to wake me up. So I gave him a bunch of potato chips. And he fucked off. That's not exactly how that went. Actually, it went, God damn it, Lucas, I'm trying to sleep. And then he cheeps and he runs into the thing. And then I hear him doing that fucking with his fucking feet. Fine. I took my potato chips and I dumped them out over there. Go there. Go away. And I went back to sleep. 6 in the morning before even the sun's up is too early. It's too early to have a mouse jumping on your face. The stupid thing is I wasn't concerned that the mouse is jumping on my face. I'm not concerned that I've conditioned him to come into my tent looking. There's a fucking hole, a mouse-sized hole just on the other side of this blanket that he comes in and out of freely. I haven't patched it up. I'm not concerned that he wants me to feed him. I'm not concerned that he eats in my trash. There's a mole who lives under the tent who also eats from my trash. I'm not concerned that the raccoon came and was patting on my door to try to get me to give him some more chicken fingers. That's not what I was concerned about. I'm still not concerned about. What I was concerned about is that his dumb ass was going to accidentally jump into the sleeping bag with me. And now we've got a problem. Because I don't want to be that close to a mouse. And I don't know how to communicate with a mouse that I don't really know how to communicate with. Get out of my sleeping bag without accidentally crushing him. Because he's tiny. He's not even, he's a little thing. I don't know if this means anything to you. Maybe 3 inches long. I mean, he's tiny. He misses that jump to get off of my face and over the sleeping bag, and he gets into the sleeping bag between my hood and the sleeping bag, and we have a problem now. Like a real problem. Thank you, Menelaith. I went when I knew it was going to start to get cold again, and I actually went up to Wingstop, and they sell fried corn, and so I threw a bunch of fried corn out into the woods, and the only ones that I've been able to find that haven't been eaten are the ones that are directly on my path, the ones that seem like traps. That's only 2 of them. It's a core of one that I ate, and then just another one. So, yeah, I try to share my prosperity, especially when I know that I'm not going to have it for very long. I try to share it with the animals around me. Yeah, Lucas is fine. Well, he was fine yesterday. I obviously didn't see him today. The last time I saw my rabbit buddy Kenny, um, was a magical moment that I wish I had gotten on film, just because nobody's going to believe me. It was a magical moment. It was a cold day. I think it was after our first snow. Everything was clearing out, and I came out and I was standing outside, or I was stretching just outside the tent, probably taking my morning pee, whatever. Stretching just outside, and I look over because I hear noise, and here he comes. Kenny comes over and he brings himself into. There's a little clearing in the grass over there, and it's not really grass. It's like these tall plants, and they're all dead and fallen over. And there's a little clearing, and he comes out and he shows himself to me. He stands up like he used to, and he's like, "Hey, it's me. I haven't seen you in months. What's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, pal." And then he does this thing with his body, this like, wait a minute thing. And he like hops to where he can still see me, but he's further away. And his girlfriend came out, and she comes out real slow, and she like reaches her body all the way out so I can see how long her body is. And then she stands up on her hind legs and she looks at me for a really long time. And then he comes over and he nuzzles up into her. And then they ran off. He showed me his girl. He wanted me to see his girl. And she wanted to know who I was. I don't know how they were able to communicate that. And it wasn't a narrative to them. They don't have the brain structures necessary to make a story like I just made out of it. But on some level, they did. They were able to recognize that I was able to recognize them. And he was most certainly able to recognize me, because he came back to where I was, where he would find me. And he brought her. He, come here, to her, so she would come out. So there was body language, there was a communication there was an intention there that was awesome. It was just awesome to wish I had video, because you'll never believe me. You'll never really believe me that that's what happened. It was awesome. Yeah. So as far as I know, he's got himself a lady, and they're gonna go and do the family thing, and he'll probably have her come back here to where his mom raised him. Probably. Hopefully. That'd be cool. To spend the spring with his kid would be cool. To get to know generations of rabbits would be cool. They're way smarter. They don't have certain brain structures to be able to do certain human things. But humans are still a mammal. So our brain structures evolved out of the same kind of brain structures that their brain structures evolved out of. And so yeah, we put mythological weight, or we put narrative intention on the things that animals do. But he definitely brought her back to where he was raised. And I was in the place that he was raised, and he didn't treat me like I was a threat. It was just an awesome experience. And so like if in a few months, come the fall, once it's nice out, I see a rabbit and a clutch of little baby rabbits, or maybe two rabbits and a clutch of little baby rabbits, I'm going to recognize exactly who that is. I know you. Because the others have avoided me. But he never did. He used to hang out around the tent. That's why we named him, because he used to play behind the tent. And then I have a lot of video of him when I would read, especially when I was reading just to myself, before I had an audience that would show up to listen to me read. He would come out and he would sit just on the edge of the clearing where the grass, so there's the tall grass, and then there's the flat grasses that are like ferns, and then no grass from where my trampling and my peeing had just killed the grass. He would sit on those flat grasses and nibble them and watch me and turn his ears toward me while I was reading. And a lot of the things that I was reading, I was also singing or chanting my way through. Yeah, you have mouse friends at the barn? Yeah. I don't know how to communicate to him boundaries. yet. I haven't figured out how to communicate to him boundaries. But that might not be something that I can communicate to him without an olfactory. They might pee to communicate to one another where they're not allowed to go or where they're not supposed to go. So I might have to communicate to him with sense. Like, these are mine. Don't touch these. You can have this. But I don't know enough about rat biology or rat psychology. I never really intended to live here long enough to want to know it. Yeah, I think about a lot of this stuff while I'm out here. I think about it all the time. Hey, Kelly, what's up? That's why I came out here, just to think about it. You can read about it in an academic setting, but the academic setting is deliberately trying not to be holistic. It's deliberately trying to be fragmented and compartmentalized. Well, we communicate. Like, when I make noises, when I go, tss, 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 he knows to go away. I don't want him in here. And Lucas and I have locked eye contact more than a few times. He'll come in, and we'll lock eye contact, and then he leaves. I'm not going to be able to communicate verbally, and he's not going to understand what the words mean. But when I go, Lucas, God damn it, he does leave. And I name Lucas, and I communicate. I use Lucas's name when I communicate with him. So every time I see him, I say Lucas, and he leaves. But he also comes into the tent in the same ways every time. So he's communicating with me too, because he knows that I can see him through this blanket. Because sometimes he'll run through and I'll tickle his little blanket, his little belly through the blanket. So he knows I can see that he's displacing the blanket. And so I always put, when I leave him, every time I eat in the tent, I leave him some of it. I've been doing that for a very long time, a very long time. I've been taking the food that I eat. I used to do it when I brought bread to the tent. For Thanksgiving last year, I got a bunch of corn at the it's Christ's table at the soup kitchen. They had a bunch of pre-cooked corn cobs, and every other one that I was eating, I was throwing out to the deer out there, in large part so they wouldn't fucking trample me, because that was a thing I was really worried about for a while, is that they would, even by accident, decide that I needed to die now. And so, just since I've been here, I've always just left scraps of everything that I'm eating, just in case a raccoon decides that he wants to get into my tent. My tent used to have a great big fucking hole in it. And so I used to make it available so they wouldn't come looking for more. And so they would identify his, not his anymore. So I have two spots in my tent that he comes and looks for first. He comes to this one, and then he leaves. And then he goes to that one, and then he leaves. And then he comes back and he looks at this one later. And if I turn the light off without having put food in either of those spots, for example, if I've just decided that the amount of food that's left in the bag over here is enough and he'll find it in the morning, and I turn my light off and I lay down to go to sleep, he'll come and he'll jump on my head until I put something in one of those two spots. And then he'll go look. And we've been doing this for months. We've been doing this since the spring, Lucas and I. And that's communication. You don't have to think about it as communication, because it's verbal. It's nonverbal. It's not verbal. And so if your abstraction or your understanding or the way you conceive of high harmony, of communication as needing to be verbal, you're missing out on written and bodily, like hand. You're written on written communication and sign language communication. Those don't fit into your rigid definition of communication. And then, so you're also just ignoring all kinds of nonverbal body language cues. And he and I have absolutely given one another body language cues. For example, I'm not aggressive. And the times that he's missed his jumps and he's fallen under me, I've waited for him to leave without pushing him along. No, I'm talking about a mouse. There is a raccoon that lives in the area. He came and okay, so I told this story the other day. But I went to Wingstop the other night and I got a 3-piece and they gave me 6 fingers. And so I put the box in the bag and I stood the bag up and I put the box with the 3 extra fingers I wasn't going to eat under my trash, and I stuck that outside my tent. And over the course of 3 nights, the raccoon came and took a single chicken finger. Rats are fine too. I've actually kept rats as pets, so I would actually probably be more comfortable with a rat's body language if he were in the tent, because I know how to communicate with a rat. Rats are only aggressive because they know that they can defend themselves, and so you just do the same things. That I don't want you here. Don't be aggressive. Just you don't need to be here, and the rat will fuck off. In fact, a rat you could actually give. I would be more comfortable just giving a chip to a rat than I would a mouse, because the mouse is going to act erratic. The rat is going to act aggressive first, and be like, actually, I want that chip, and now I want to leave. Same with a raccoon. I'll give a bag of chips to a raccoon because the raccoon will take it and leave, and he won't get aggressive, and we won't have. We can actually barter. We can communicate because they're big enough that they won't act skittish and retarded like a mouse will, or a deer. I don't want to try to communicate with the deer because deer act stupid. They don't act stupid. Deer are stupid. A deer will be completely invisible in this environment, and I'll go walking through it, and it'll just burst out of the environment and scare the shit out of me. And that puts both of us in danger. Because if I react with a weapon to it, because they know we have projectiles. So if I react with a projectile to it, it's a dead deer now. It's a bad survival strategy when you're talking about dealing with humans. Deer are stupid, and the mouse is small enough that it'll act in unpredictable ways. Oh my God, that is getting heavy. Okay, I need to leave, and I need to find a way to scrape this off right now. My feet are warm. My shoes have had my hand warmers in them. But that's getting heavy enough that it's going to collapse my tent. I can feel it. I can't even move it off with my hands. That's a problem. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm glad that I stayed here long enough to think about that. I need to scrape that, which means I need my good gloves, which means that I need to zip up. I am zipped up. I need to get my shoes on. I need to get out of here. I need to figure this out right now. That's actually going to become critical in a couple hours. Oh, I don't need luck. I'm fine. But thank you. Thank you for your well wishes. I'm fine. I just got to figure out a way to clean this off. I got to get a brush or a scraper or something. Okay. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Safe. Safe is the most important thing. Smart and safe, right? Smart and safe. That's my motto. Making mistakes, doing dumb things, unsmart things, stupid things. I define stupid as self-defeating, right? Or self-harmful. A stupid thing is a self-harmful thing. So we just do things that are that long-term benefit the self. That's a smart thing. And this is where narcissism comes in, right? So narcissism is it's a survival trait. This is why when people call me a narcissist, I'm just like, okay, fine. Because I'm not a narcissist by temperament, by trait. But if surviving you makes me a narcissist, then fine. I'm willing to take that hit for the team. The team being myself, right? If you're a wrestler, right? Wrestling competitions, we know are one-on-one, even when they're tag team, right? And I'm not even talking about WWE. I'm talking about I wrestled in middle school. Freestyle, I think, is what it was. So when you compete as your school, as a team, right? Your wrestling team competes. It's for points in one-on-one, right? So you're one-on-one in your weight class, and then you compare wins across the teams. I'm very confident in my ability to survive. I slept like a baby last night. I went to sleep. It started snowing as I lay down to sleep, and I was in no way concerned that I was going to wake up dead. Or without my feet, without my hands, or even a little bit uncomfortable. In fact, you might notice that I have less rasp in my voice even. I even better managed the moisture in my tent re my throat and my sinuses. I did this last year. This is a lot more snow than we got last winter. But I did this last winter. I did it just fine with less good gear and less money. Yeah, I have to clean that off. That has to be the first thing that gets fixed. Yeah, a lot of people want me to be afraid for my life. Oh my god, that's a lot of accumulation. Holy shit. Okay, so never mind my pee from this morning. Since I've been talking to you, there's been another what is that, 4 inches? Can you even see it? It's hard to do from this angle. Let me turn it around. Just since I've been talking to you, there's been another 4. Or the plow. It might have been the plow. But yeah, so I told you it was at the height of my shoe when I woke up. That's a lot higher than the height of my shoe. Now that's a pile up. But I think what happened is the plow threw a couple of inches on me. But that's going to be a bitch to walk through. Because that's going to be higher than my, that's actually going to be higher than my boots. So I got a lot that I got to do right now. So you're not going to get a great view of it, but I'm going to get at that right now. And I did say if I made $20, I would go get something to eat and I would go deal with this. All right. So that was Matthew. That's fine. You didn't have to get weak in your convictions. This is why Martin Luther got so mad at medieval Christians, because they were actually soft and weak and unconvicted in the things they believed. They were soft-hearted in their niceness, and it's actually an insult to somebody who's doing the work of the Lord to be nice to them. You're missing the point. Trying to work for my income, and if you're just going to give it to me to be nice, that's pity, it's charity. I didn't earn that. Nobody else thought I earned it. It's not like it all came in at once. You know, when you tithe, when you give at church, when you give it at a fundraiser, everybody's giving all at once. Because everybody agrees that the thing deserves to be paid for. And that just doesn't happen with me. And I'm not asking for it to happen with me. I'm being realistic. See, a lot of people, they get stuck in their dreams because they're unrealistic about what they want. That's what I was talking about when I was talking about making silly compromises for what you want. Because what you want isn't what you need. It's a perversion. It's a wrong and twisted version of what you need. I forgot to clear that off. That was on me. It hasn't snowed hard enough this year that I needed to reinforce that habit. Okay. This is dangerous. I don't know if I can do this. Fuck. That's a lot of snow, boys and girls. I got a lot of snow in the tent. Oh boy. It slid down my neck and I didn't feel it because good clothes. Foot already going numb. Have to hurry. This is fun, actually. I grew up in North Carolina. This is not actually what my childhood was like. And so, as I opened this live, kind of going back to okay, so let me just kind of tell this story in the proper order. I went back yesterday. And I shared with the live while I was playing Wizardry. I went back and I listened to one of my old Talking to Myself live streams. No, it wasn't a live stream. One of my old Talking to Myself books. They're streams of consciousness is what they are. I wasn't doing it live yet because I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew there were going to be gaps and pauses and ums and ahs, and I was for example, I was listening to my JRPGs, talking about the big 3 JRPGs video. And the method that I was using at the time, and I kept saying that that was the method, was that I was going to talk about it for 2 hours, talk about a subject for 2 hours, and I was probably going to end up circling around the subject 2 or 3 times, maybe even more, as I, in tighter concentric circles, so loops, spiral, as I felt more and more confident that I knew what the hell I was talking about. And so I've been kind of doing that today. And I don't remember why I started talking about that. Looping around tighter spirals. Okay. It snowed a lot more last year. It snowed more often. And so last year I had to shake off the tent, and I had to make sure to wake up early and dig it out. But I chose to wait today because I didn't know how much digging I was going to really be doing. And so it's good that I did this. For example, if I had left before the plow came and knocked all that snow onto my tent, I might have been thinking that it would be fine, and then I come back to a collapsed tent because I didn't know that the plow was going to come through. You can't prepare for what you don't know is coming. And so sometimes doing nothing, waiting for what you don't know is coming, is the only way to survive what's actually coming. Shit. Like, I knew that catastrophic snow, I knew that the Midwest was supposed to get snow dumped on it, but I had no idea what kind of snow we're talking about, like what texture of snow. This is really dense, tiny snowflakes. So they fall really loosely, but as you can see, I am kicking this and it breaks. But it packs all together and it's heavy. So I gotta deal with some of that weight. It's actually not gonna be that hard. I just don't want to do it with my naked hands. Well, with my gloved hands, for that matter. I just don't want to do it with my hands. I want to do it with a tool. I want to go buy a tool specifically for the purpose. Okay. Silly boy. What order do I want to do this in? Because I got to come back to the tent if I'm going to buy the tool. Okay. I'm going to go see if I can buy a car window scraper. Alright, dudes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for your dollars. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your admiration, I guess, on some level. Thank you for, like I tell God every night, thank you for all of the good and all of the bad things that you do for me. Because without the friction, without the things that I don't love, there would be no space created for learning and growth. Okay. It's time for me to go. Thank you guys. Love you. Be well. You'll hear from me again soon. When you hear from me next, we'll be playing Wizardry.